Hey guys, today I will be taking a look at the new updated JHK forecast for the 2020 presidential election, first filling in their forecasted map here. So basically the solid margin is 99% or more. This is based on the chances of victory for both President Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden. So if either candidate has a over 99% chance or more of winning the state, it will be solid. Between 85 to 99% chance that is likely. Lean is between 65 and 85, and then of course between 50 and 65 is a tilt. So these are the closer states. So first, I'm filling the solid states for both Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Joe Biden winning all the West Coast, as well as the state of New Mexico, which is solid on this forecast in terms of his percentage chance. Joe Biden has a 99.0% chance of winning the state of New Mexico. The state of Hawaii will also be solid for Joe Biden, so will the state of Illinois, no surprises here. And then most of the Northeast will again be all solid, and there's no different categorization for the state of Maine or Nebraska, so it'll just be Maine at large and then Nebraska at large. So for President Trump, he has a lot less solid states. States like Montana, Utah are no longer solid. His solid states consist of Idaho, Wyoming, North and South Dakota, Nebraska at large, as well as Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, not Mississippi, surprisingly. He does win the state of Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, and then West Virginia, giving Donald Trump 72 electoral votes to Joe Biden with 191, with both President Trump and former Vice President Biden's safe states. Now, I'm filling in President Trump's likely states first because these states are states that he won by solid margins in 2016. So it really is surprising to see that these states are no longer solid for the current president. So Montana, Utah, Kansas, Missouri, Mississippi, Indiana, South Carolina, all of these states were solid for President Trump in 2016, and now they aren't even solid states anymore for the current president. That really is just a huge sign that President Trump has lost so much support over the past 4 years. Kansas is becoming very, very competitive. I mean, Donald Trump leads by less than 7% in the state of Texas. Missouri also less than 7%. I mean, South Carolina went all the way down plus 6% at one point for Joe Biden, and Lindsey Graham is having a lot of trouble in this state, winning his re-election for his fourth term. I mean, he is polling behind Jamie Harrison in many, many polls, and Jamie Harrison also broke the all-time Senate race fundraising record in the state of South Carolina, which, I mean, the last record was held by Beto O'Rourke, I believe, in the state of Texas. So really, Beto O'Rourke still lost, and a lot of people did support him. He did have a lot of support, but Jamie Harrison has raised much more money than O'Rourke has. But really, we'll see. It's really just South Carolina. The demographics in South Carolina are against the Democrats, and we'll see. Because Stacey Abrams also raised a lot of money in her race in Georgia. So yeah, we'll have to see how this all turns out, but South Carolina definitely looking very, very badly for the GOP right now. There's no way for me to put this in a positive way. The Republican Party is losing their grip on the state of South Carolina. Now, moving on to the likely states for the former vice president, we have, of course, the state of Nevada, no surprises there, as well as Colorado, the states of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. So the entire blue wall is likely for Joe Biden. Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Trump states in 2016. These states went to the Democratic Party for over 2 decades, 24 years, and 28 in Wisconsin previously. However, all 3 of these states now are likely states for Joe Biden, returning to the margin that we saw for Barack Obama in 2012, 2008. Barack Obama just did much better in 2008 in these states. And then the state of New Hampshire is also going to be likely, as well as the state of Virginia. So Joe Biden already crossing the 270 electoral vote mark. This is essentially every single Clinton state in 2016. And then the states of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, putting Joe Biden up at 279 electoral votes. Now, for President Trump, his lean states, he has one lean state, Alaska. Now, this is pretty surprising. Alaska, Joe Biden has a pretty good chance here, actually, as Donald Trump has a less than 85% chance of winning Alaska. So, although I don't think Joe Biden is going to win, Joe Biden has a better chance of winning Alaska than President Trump did at winning the entire election in 2016. So, is an upset possible? Yes, but realistically, Joe Biden's not going to carry Alaska. But definitely, I don't think it's going to be as lopsided as it was in 2016, I mean, Donald Trump is definitely going to severely underperform compared to his 2016 margin here in the state of Alaska. Now, for Joe Biden, he has the 3 tilt states, lean states, and then we'll get into tilt right after that. But with his lean states, we have first the state of Arizona. No real surprises here. That's his polling margin as well. Florida will also be in the lean category. And then the state of North Carolina, which I found surprising, that Joe Biden has an over 65% chance, I believe 67% chance in North Carolina. But Joe Biden essentially is doing very well in this state, a state that has been polling in favor of Joe Biden for the last 6 months. So consistently, never been a point where Trump's average was higher than Biden's average. Now, for the Biden tilt states, we have 2 of them. And out of these last 4 states, these states I think are Trump's. These are basically the most solid Trump states. And out of the battleground states, and by solid, I don't mean they're solid for President Trump. I just mean that Donald Trump has a higher chance of winning these 4 states than any of these other battleground states. Iowa, Trump won by almost 10%. Ohio, 8.1%. Georgia, 5.1%. And now these states, especially Georgia and Iowa, are now Biden states. Iowa, a state that went to President Trump by almost 10%, is now in the Biden column. So is the state of Georgia that went to Donald Trump by over 5%. For Donald Trump, he will carry the state of Ohio, which I think is pretty surprising. I would expect Ohio to flip before Iowa and Georgia, but that's just what this forecast says as of this moment in time. And then, of course, you have the state of Texas, which is only a tilt state for President Trump on this map. So this, at the end, gives Donald Trump 182 electoral votes to Joe Biden with 356. This would be a historical landslide victory for the Democratic Party and the strongest victory for a Democrat since 2008, when Barack Obama, of course, won 365 electoral votes. But 350, this would be a modern day political landslide for the former vice president. And so taking a look at the actual map here, the JHK forecast currently gives Joe Biden 88.1% chance of winning the election. This is his highest chance ever at winning this election. And then for President Trump, 11.9%. Now, before we move on, make sure you join my Discord if you have not. I launched this just a couple days ago. We have a Discord Nitro giveaway ending just today, so just in a couple of hours when this comes out. Make sure you join that so you do not miss out on the giveaway. The link is at the very top of the description below. So moving on, as you can see, 88.1%. That is Joe Biden's peak chance in terms of his percentage chance of victory. Donald Trump down at 11.9%. I mean, what's significant here is that Donald Trump had about the same chance, and even lesser of a chance in 2016 of winning the election. And yes, he did win the election, but in 2016, everybody underestimated Donald Trump. Even the right-wing forecasts, they all forecasted a Trump loss. And Hillary Clinton had an almost 90% chance of winning the election on the betting odds. But right now, Donald Trump 11.9% after he already won an election, and all polls and all forecasts have adjusted for that surprise that Donald Trump was able to have 4 years ago, and he only has an 11.9% chance of winning the election. That is substantially horrible for the current president. I mean, the betting odds right now, he is down at his lowest point ever. I think his average chance of winning in terms of the betting odds is around 30% right now. So still, he is performing better than he was in 2016 on the betting odds, but, definitely things have shifted and been adjusted to after Trump's surprising victory in 2016. So basically right here, this is the map that I just filled in over there, but the other map that I made had more precise margins. So this map is a little bit more confusing to take a look at. But as you can see, 92% chance of winning Minnesota, Wisconsin 89%, Michigan 90%, Pennsylvania 88%. So Joe Biden has an almost 9 out of 10 chance of winning 3 states that President Trump carried in 2016. And these are not states that are just shifting to the left. These are states that President Trump won by a surprise 4 years ago. And that's why this election is so in favor of Joe Biden, because he has to win back states that have voted for the Democratic Party in decades. It's always harder for a Republican to get elected because the electorate is just against them. The Electoral College might benefit them, but the voters in general do not benefit the Republican Party. And Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, these 3 states, just these 3 states alone, including the Clinton 2016 states, would get Joe Biden over 270 electoral votes. And you see here the state of Nevada, Joe Biden 88.5% chance, a state that Clinton actually carried in 2016. And you'll see that Joe Biden has a higher chance of carrying a state that went to his party in 2016 in a state that went to the opposition party just 4 years ago. So that is, substantial. Michigan, of course, I think it is in the bag right now for Joe Biden. He is just doing so well and has been doing so well consistently in the state of Michigan. I mean, Virginia, 96% chance. The state of North Carolina, 69%. I think I said 67 earlier, but it's 69% chance in the state of North Carolina. Donald Trump has a 30% chance of winning a state that the GOP has won since 2012. The state of Florida, 75% chance of going to Joe Biden. That is substantial. I mean, this is a state that President Trump cannot win the election without. If he's going to win, he will have to win this state, and things are not looking good for him. I mean, he has to win Pennsylvania if he wants to win the election. He has to win North Carolina if he wants to win the election. He has to win Georgia. I mean, 42% chance in Georgia. That's not too bad, but it's not good for President Trump, a state that he did so well in. And the tipping point states, these are the states that are going to get the candidates over 270. I'm surprised to see that Ohio is not on here, but Virginia and Minnesota are, even Nevada. But the state of Arizona, another state that Trump has to win if he wants to win the election, 26% chance of winning. I mean, Alaska, 83.5% chance of winning Alaska. That's not too great for such a historically solid GOP state. And I mean, Michigan, 9.2% chance. That is like pathetic. Literally 9.2% for the incumbent president who carried this state in 2016. I mean, that's, he literally has no chance of winning Michigan at this point. But it's important that we do not get complacent. That's what a lot of people did in 2016. Go out and vote for whoever you support. It doesn't matter who you support, whether you support Biden or Trump. It's important that you do vote and share, and so you have your voice and who you want to lead the country. I mean, Iowa, 47.52 to Joe Biden right now. Ohio, 50.8, just 50.8% of a Trump victory. And then Texas, 61%. That's not good. I mean, this is a state that has not gone to a Democrat since 1976, literally 20 or 44 years ago. And this state is shifting to the left. And if the Democrats are able to control California, Texas, and New York, they'll be undefeatable on the Electoral College, controlling the three largest states. I mean, that would just be a dream for the Democratic Party and will really be able to stunt the Republicans' chances at winning the presidency in the next couple of decades. I think that Texas is going to be a heavily battleground state in 2024, similar to what Georgia is right now. Georgia, I think, will get even closer in 4 years because Georgia right now might be expected to go to Joe Biden. But at the end of the day, I do think that Trump does have a slight edge in this state. He is the incumbent, and Georgia does tend to vote Republican anyways. I mean, Texas, 2024, it will be closer than has ever been in the last half century. So this is the map. I mean, South Carolina, 10% chance of a Biden victory. That's pretty large for Joe Biden in a state like South Carolina. Kansas, 95% for Donald Trump, not even 99. So this is all pretty surprising to see. And again, it shows that Joe Biden is heavily outperforming Hillary Clinton from 2016. Taking a look at the national overview, Joe Biden wins an average of 351 electoral votes to Donald Trump with 186. And the popular vote, Joe Biden wins on average by a margin of 9%, so 52.9 to Donald Trump with 43.9. Honestly, I think this is going to be what the margin is going to be similar to, but there's still a little bit inside me that says that the margin is going to be a lot closer just because it was in 2016. But the polls on the national scale really went wrong 4 years ago. So Joe Biden up over 10% right now in the national polling. So 9% I think is definitely not out of the question. And then taking a look at how this race has changed. I mean, just looking at this graph, Joe Biden started off in March with a 58.3% chance. That is still large. I mean, that's a 6 in 10 chance, but Donald Trump still had a 4 in 10 chance of winning the election. And then we saw that after May, Joe Biden's numbers went to 70% for the first time. And then after the Black Lives Matter protest started in June, Donald Trump's numbers fell even more. And then they stayed pretty consistent throughout the months of June, July, and August until September when it got a little bit closer. Even more closer in some other forecasts. But then right here, after the first presidential debate, and then after Trump caught COVID-19, which really was another turning point. So in this election, I think there have been two major turning points for President Trump. I mean, you can say three, but the first one was, of course, COVID-19. That really did change the election. Before that, everybody, including myself, I did think that President Trump was going to win the election before COVID-19 hit. And then that was, of course, the first hurdle for President Trump that I don't think he was able to get through. And then the month of June, the racial riots that occurred all across the country, Donald Trump had a very bad message and a very bad response. He just threw more oil into the fire with that. I mean, he honestly did not help resolve the situation at all. They just died down a little bit. Of course, they are still occurring, but I think that those riots really did have a good impact, and it really has, brought up the issue of race in our country once again as a more important topic. Because before this, it was just Medicare. It was, of course, COVID-19 that took up most of the attention. But now race is on the ballot as well. And I don't think that Donald Trump, with his refusal to, denounce white supremacy groups, that didn't help him either. So that just honestly puts him at an even worse foot with those who are not racist. So I mean, that definitely didn't help him. So that was in early June. And then we had Trump catching COVID along with his horrible first presidential debate performance. And that, of course, allowed Biden's numbers to jump up even higher, to peak at where he is right now, 87.5%. It's basically his peak period. I mean, he was up a little bit, but that's just the highest he's ever been. The popular vote has also increased. Now, less of an increase, but I mean, the popular vote is always going to be a little bit closer. So Biden only expected to win by 3.9%. That, honestly, if Joe Biden wins by 3.9% on election night, I don't think he's going to win the election with 3.9%. But I mean, with 9%, I definitely, Joe Biden's going to win the election if he wins the popular vote by 9%. Although there's still a possibility that Donald Trump wins the election but loses the popular vote by 9%. It's just not going to happen. I can promise you that. So we'll see how this continues to change. The race to 270, as you can see, this is just a different way to look at things. It just shows which states Biden doesn't need. He does not need Iowa, does not need Georgia, does not need the 2nd District of Maine, which isn't actually categorized on the map, but is down here. He doesn't need North Carolina, Arizona, nor Florida, nor the 2nd District of Nebraska. But the state of Pennsylvania, he does. So all he really needs, again, is just Pennsylvania, and then Wisconsin and Michigan. And Wisconsin and Michigan are now safer for Joe Biden than the state of Nevada. For President Trump, I mean, Ohio, Texas, I mean, he basically literally just has all of these really solid states, these 125 electoral votes with these solid states. So states like basically every single solid and likely state along with Alaska, they make up 125 electoral votes. If you take away Texas and Ohio, you see 126. That's because of the addition of the 2nd District of Nebraska, which would typically be a toss-up. So these 125 electoral votes, these are the solid states for Donald Trump. He literally just has all of these solid, very, very solid GOP states that are not even too solid for him anymore. And then he has Texas and Ohio. So this is another way to look at it again here. I mean, just different ways to plot out this information, showing where each candidate is going to get their electoral votes from. And Northeast, as you can see, is entirely blue. Rust Belt is also mostly blue here. And then, we see these more rural states as red. All of the West Coast is blue, and most of the Sun Belt is turning blue. And so the tipping points, they're just the polling and all of that, and the projected vote count in some of these states, like these closer states of Florida, Pennsylvania, Michigan. I mean, the state with the highest chance of becoming a tipping point on this map is the state of Florida, 19.3%. I disagree. I think it's going to Pennsylvania, but we'll see. It really doesn't matter too much as long as one candidate gets to 270. So you can see Joe Biden expected to win all of these states. Ohio, Trump expected to win by 0.0%. Texas by 1.8%. So you see, just every single state, every single close state, Biden leads in. And so, it's interesting to see that Montana plus 7.9, while Alaska is plus 7.1. So, yeah. And that will be it for this video. Make sure you join my Discord if you have not. The link is at the very top of the description below. And this was, again, the JHK forecast. You can check this out for yourself. I think it does present some pretty interesting data. So, of course, you can go check this out for yourself and, take a look at this forecast. And so, that will be it for today. Leave a like down below if you haven't. Subscribe to my channel if not either. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. Leave your thoughts as well as suggestions for videos you'd like to see from me in the future in the comments below, and I will see all of you guys in the next video.